Welcome back to the Chasing Tone podcast. I, of course, am Brian Wampler of Wampler Pedals, and today we talk about our very newest April 1st release, and we go really deep into that. I should preface this. This is referencing a video from Anderton, so if you have not seen the video, the first 16 minutes of this is not going to make any sort of sense whatsoever. I do tell you in the middle, or right before we start, to pause, go to YouTube and watch the video, then come back and listen to it. It'll make a lot more sense. So let's get right into it.
Something
else?
Well, it's like this little imperceptible difference. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
I do. So for everyone out there that has no idea what we're talking about, we just released a brand new pedal on April 1st with Lee Anderton, one of my favorite humans in the world. Super great guy.
He is quite the guy.
He is super nice guy. Rob Chapman was there as well for the video, and they demoed it. The pedal show demoed it. Even the man himself. Hold on, I gotta slow my breathing down because
calm down.
You know how I get with these guys.
Yeah.
Paul Gilbert, the Paul Gilbert.
I heard he can play pretty good.
Oh, you know, I mean, who would have ever thought that? As a kid, I would have never thought that Paul Gilbert would be, getting all goo-goo-eyed over something I created. You know?
Oh, and but you really created something special here. I mean, it's
really something very unique. What I've always found is there was always this element of sound that you couldn't put your finger on it. You couldn't find it on an oscilloscope. You couldn't find it on a data sheet. But it was just something that some pedals had and some pedals didn't. So I thought to myself, you know what? Why don't I just bust my butt and try to figure out what that something is and then just put that something into a pedal? That way you can make any pedal or any amp or anything sound like it has this magical, mystical quality to it that you can't really pinpoint what it is, but it's it, you know?
Or it might be something, or it could be something else, though.
It could be something else. So there's two controls on it. We have the something, and then we have the else control. So sometimes you need a little bit of, just something different. So that's why you put the else on. Or maybe you just need more of that special something. And so you turn that special something up, and bam, right there, magical, mystical awesomeness of something that can't even be described. It's just something.
Well, I don't know how you did it, but man, all the tones in that video sounded excellent.
Well, I've thought about patenting this technology. It's really something that I stumbled on, myself. And I found some of the magic parts that make that something happen.
Yeah,
and,
I watched the video. They were so the parts, they were so detailed. I could barely make them out.
Well, there's surface mount technology, and some of it sounds really great, but there's micro surface mount technology that's even better.
Right.
It's even better than surface mount. Micro surface mount.
Of course.
And the thing is, you have to know which part to get. And so I actually sourced this from, it was this electronic shop in the middle of Nebraska that, there's like 3 people in the whole town. And there's one electronic shop where the guy's he's been saving stuff for years and years and years. And he had something really cool. And so I needed that something really cool to make something else a little bit better.
Well, it's vintage though, right? I mean, this is not a new thing.
No, this is this is actually before vacuum tubes.
Okay. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is
it's before that.
It's basically in the earliest stages of electronics.
Yeah, I really think what's his name? Nikola Tesla. I believe that he was really the one that kind of put 2 and 2 together and said it would be awesome if someone would make a guitar pedal that did this. And so he really kind of pushed that technology ahead. I'm sure
Well, and it was
Einstein probably tried to patent it, but I don't know if it worked or not.
Well, Tesla, he believed in the technology so much that like Thomas Edison had to like try to ruin his life. You know what I mean? He was shown things, like this technology and that you have acquired would like kill horses and things like that, and Thomas Edison basically ruined Tesla's life over this.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to guitar tone, it's a pretty important thing. I mean, we could be curing diseases, but no. No. The goal is to make your guitar tone better above all else. So
I can't keep it together anymore. I can't do this. I can't do it I already sat through the 14-minute video and I was laughing the entire time, and now I have to sit here and pretend like I thought it was serious. I can't do it anymore, Brian. We should let the people in. They'll be hearing this after the day of gear jokery is over anyway. So why don't you explain what we're talking about?
I think the best thing to do is pause this podcast, pull over if you're driving. If you're at the gym, hop off the treadmill or whatever. If you're in your yard, like doing yard work, like put the rake down and go to Anderton's channel on YouTube. You can watch it there. You can go to our Facebook page, the Wampler Pedal page, and it's on there as well. And just watch the video. And I think that really will explain a lot of some things, I mean, I think Lee actually really hit on something good. Lee Anderton was talking about, it's like if you have 8-gauge strings and 10-gauge strings, and you like combine them, but it's not. It's almost like it's 9-gauge if you take one, subtract the other, and it's sort of magical and mystical in that way. I mean, it's kind of like, nail on the head for taking a scalloped fretboard and filling it in to get more tone,
Oh, you know what? This actually, as funny as all this is, it really, really points a finger at how ridiculous we are. Like, guitar players and gear nerds are ridiculous, and I am that too. Like, I am a ridiculous person for taking some of this stuff so serious sometimes, if that makes any sense.
Right, so the pedal is, I don't even want to give away the secret yet. I can't give away the secret yet.
Oh, come on, then no one's going to hear, everyone will have seen the video by the time they listen to this podcast.
Okay, so the truth is, if you take a clean volume boost, okay, man, I shouldn't be telling people this. Okay, so you take a clean volume boost, and okay, the pot is in between the positive and negative pins of your op amp, okay? Mm-hmm. This is for the gear guys out there. Okay, so you just one, so it's one variable resistor there. Now, take a wire and go all the way across those lugs on that pot.
Yeah.
And that's where that piece of wire is really where the magic is. Because there's Howard Dumble hit on something with the crystal lattice. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a bit of crystal lattice going on with that. And it's not just any wire. You have to use a very specific kind of wire. Okay, now this wire is $2,000 a foot. Okay, that's what it normally is. Like I said, from this guy in Nebraska, he didn't know what he had. Mm-hmm. And I sourced it for about half that.
Wow.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're a wheeler dealer. How many feet did you get?
30.
You got 30 feet. Okay. So you
Yeah, because we had to make two pedals, and I wanted to make sure it was. I wanted to make sure it was the right. That inch of mm-hmm. wire. I wanted to make sure it was exactly. All the crystal lattices were in place. I wanted to make sure that everything was good.
You're way better at keeping this together than I am. I think I'm coming off of the video and I mean, I know this is a serious thing. Like, this is a serious deal. Like, I shouldn't be laughing about it.
Oh, we're making a batch of these, dude. We're making a batch of these.
Are you?
Yeah, we're making a batch, and we're donating all the proceeds to charity. Yeah.
Really? This is great news.
Yes. Yes. Because the world needs this.
How much are they going to be running for retail?
I don't know yet. To be honest, totally honest, I don't know what they're going to be. I do know that Lee's heading up, all this. As far as this, I got the batch made for Lee. He's going to be selling him and distributing him. So he'll be the guy to check out Anderton's music in the UK. Make sure you hit him up. Get in because I know just by judging by the comments, there was like 700 comments already, and it was just the video was just released, so those 20 are going to go quick.
Wow, yeah, they're going to be that's going to be a hot item, and everyone that gets one's really going to have something.
Yeah, I mean, because it's you could always get anything, but you can't always get something.
Well, you can't get something from just anything. If that makes any sense.
No, you're right. You're right. But sometimes you can get anything from something, but not always something else.
Exactly. You've really done something magical.
Mm-hmm.
I got to commend you. I got to
commend
commend you for this.
Thank you.
Wow.
So the pedal's called the Psychosomatic Drive. Like I said, it's meticulously put together. I actually did these blindfolded just because I think that's the best way to do it. Whenever you assemble,
well, you don't want to look at them the wrong way.
No. Well, you can't let out the magical properties, and with the way that your eyes work, they steal some of those magical properties.
Really?
Yeah. So you got to be really careful. So the best way to do it is turn the lights off, blindfold yourself just in case there's any hint of light, and then solder.
Should you put earplugs in too?
Then solder. Yeah. Your earplugs?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Man, I actually wasn't going to say anything, but that's a big part of it too. That's the secret sauce.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, because your ears, there's a magnetic field around the Earth, okay? And some electronic components, like magnets, have a magnetic field. And,
right.
So you got to be careful, because if there's a magnet in your guitar amp and your guitar amp is near you, you got to be really careful that your ears do not steal that magnetic field.
Well, what about when you're playing like a really nice guitar, right? And it's got these like magnetic pickups in it. Like, what do you do about that?
Oh, well, see, you can't use those kind. You can't. No. You actually, what you really need is a microphone from very far away, like a shotgun, like a boom mic. And you need to mic the guitar that way, and then run that into the amplifier. That's the best way.
We've been doing all this so wrong for so long. I don't understand why you're the first person to figure this out.
Well, I have a lot of friends that are recording engineers, and these are a lot of secrets that they've kind of let me let me in on. And that's the some of the best tones that you've heard. Some of the Zeppelin tones, and even some of the old Stone stuff. Man, that's boom mic'd.
Boom mic. Wow, that's fascinating.
From a different room. Yeah.
Well, so I have all these rock stars and these legends just been like pulling a fast one on us all this time? Like with their walls of amps and everything? Is that all just a lie?
Yeah, no. Well, it's kind of like an Eddie Van Halen thing. Eddie liked to talk about all the things that he did to his amps to get that sound. The thing he didn't really let on was the boom mic situation.
Right, so it wasn't just the variant.
That chord is just for looks. That chord from that guitar into that amplifier, that's just for looks, dude.
My whole everything I'm gonna sell. I'm sitting around here. I'm looking at some of my stuff I have, and I'm thinking, I need to get rid of all of this. It's not doing me any good. I've been doing it wrong. I got these pedals. I was even playing this Velvet Fuzz earlier. I think I just need to get rid of the thing.
You really do, because it doesn't have something else in it,
Why would you make something like this if you knew all this time that you needed something else?
Well, I think you can't make everything too good, because then where do you go from there, Once you make something perfect, how do you top that?
So are you retiring? Are you going out on the high note with this pedal?
After this pedal, I mean, this is the pinnacle. Not, I know we have a pinnacle, so I don't mean anything by that. I mean, this is the top of the top. I can't possibly outdo this. So I think after this pedal, I'm probably going to retire and I'm going to modify golf clubs for a living.
Golf clubs. Okay.
Yeah. There's actually electronic circuits in those as well. Most people don't know that. But yeah, there's circuits inside of those. And I figure, you know what? I've never played golf in my life. I think it's time for me to modify golf clubs.
I mean, it almost makes too much sense. Like this is more sense and more logic than I can actually handle.
Right. And this is, I've already had some people ask me about coming on their business podcast to really explain how I did this, and some engineering podcasts as well to kind of pick my brain on how I was able to put 2 and 3 together and get 4, and so I don't. Big apologies to all the people that have supported Wampler over the years. I appreciate it, but I got to go out on a high note, and I think the psychosomatic drive is the one.
Well, there you go. I mean, I guess the podcast is over too then, right?
No. We're just changing the podcast to talk about golf clubs and electronic circuits with golf clubs, because golfers are looking for awesome tone as well.
Toned forearms? Or what do you mean?
Yes. Yeah, mostly muscle tone, but yeah.
Okay. This is all starting to make sense. How many people have turned this off by now?
I'm sorry?
How many people have turned this episode off at this point?
I imagine there's a few people out there like, I have no idea what the hell they're saying.
16 minutes, dude.
So for
16 minutes, we've made no
16,
sense.
and this is probably going to be, right, this might be a little bit short of a podcast for everyone. So there's 16 minutes.
I was trying to get you to do this at 10 minutes.
Right.
By the way.
I had to keep going, okay? So we made a pedal for April Fool's Day for Lee Anderton. We got a bunch of people in on the joke. The pedal does nothing. It's just a buffer. That's all it does. And but the whole idea was to really kind of poke fun at ourselves. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because if you like let's think about it. Like, dude, we're literally buying the same pedal in some instances for $3,000 that you can get on Amazon for like $30, all based on where it's made, even though the components could be exactly the same. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, and who's to say that those sound better or worse?
Well, everything's subjective, like we've talked about 4 billion times.
Right.
So maybe they actually do sound better.
Right. And obviously, like if you buy, a $40 pedal from somewhere overseas where quality control is crap, and it works half the time and stuff like that. Like there's obviously those things. But the real fact of the matter is, if you can buy a tube screamer 1 million different times for 1 million different prices, like that's everyone's. Who when a guy starts building pedals, that's generally like his first overdrive he introduces, mm-hmm. right? So really, we go crazy over all these. What was it? I'm trying to think of the tube screamer. I'm trying to think of the company. It was Swirly Paint. And it was about 10 years ago. It was just a plain old tube screamer, and people were like buying it for like $500 or $600, and they swore it was completely different and so much better than the lowly Ibanez TS808 or TS9 mm-hmm. even, And then like the Freestyle boxes, the DIY forum like reversed it and like, guys, it's just a tube screamer. And one of the guys who actually designed it for this company got in the conversation. He's like, no, look, this whole thing was like, it was kind of just to get money out of people. Like we were just it was a marketing machine. You know what I mean? And I don't know how sales went after that. But, like really, like there's we kill ourselves to find the perfect tone. We have a podcast about finding the perfect tone. We have a gear group, multiple gear groups about finding the perfect tone. The Gear Page, arguably one of the biggest forums about gear, or at least it was in its heyday. all about finding the perfect tone.
I mean, Reddit,
You know?
like the list, YouTube, the list goes on, and
Right.
and I love it, but it is kind of silly. You know what I mean?
It's silly when you look at it from a practical point of view and a logical point of view. It's not silly when it's giving you happiness in a way. You know, I mean, like you could be like, popping pills or doing some sort of crazy drugs or something, but instead we choose to buy gear and find something that we like, even 0.0001% better, and then we screamed all our friends about how they've got to get it,
Yeah.
and that's just who we are. And I think it's probably because we're creative people, by and large. And graphics, like for example, graphics can make or break a pedal.
Oh, totally.
Even if it's the same exact thing, it can make or break a pedal.
Yeah, as far as people's wanting it.
Right. Like there's probably a company. Oh, you know what? There is a company, and I don't remember the guy's name. But he was taking, I think it was Joyo pedals or China, overseas inexpensive pedals,
Freakish Blues.
and I think that's it. Yeah, putting them in a different case, putting some goop on them, selling them for a higher price, marketed them creatively, and people were going crazy over it. And it might have changed like a capacitor or two. I forget the details now, but I mean that just kind of shows. And nothing against, I'm not here to talk bad about them or anything like that. It's just the fact of the matter is that's what happened, and people were just buying into the marketing and the sight of the pedal and the story of the pedal. The story of how this pedal came to fruition was a compelling and interesting one, and we wanted to believe it. And it's so it's the video. So to kind of circle back around. The whole idea of this video is to poke fun at all of us, not just like this guy or that guy. Like we all do this. I mean, like literally, I switch out types of capacitors and amps for fun, just to see what this sounds like. I wonder what this one sounds like compared to this brand. Like, and that's my fun. Or breadboarding something like, I wonder what would happen if I used this type of resistor here instead of this type. That I guess there's worse things to do.
That's true.
but that's enjoyment for me,
Yeah, the truth is, we're all really, really huge nerds.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, but cool nerds.
No.
Like not the nerds that necessarily get picked on. Well, except for me, because I was the guy that got picked on. But you're right. We're all completely, ultimately, the nerdiest gear nerds of guitar players.
Totally. I and it's kind of funny though, like how the internet has brought us all together, and it's like, it's kind of funny to my wife because she's like, "You're a huge nerd," and I'm like, "Yeah, but look, here's 30,000, 50,000 other people just like me."
Right. I'm not the only one.
And we...
In fact, I'm a leader of sorts of them.
I lead the legions of nerds.
That's right. When she's like, this is so nerdy, be like, yes, and I have my own dedicated group of them. The Tone Mob.
And I love them. And they love pedals.
Exactly.
And it's great.
They're just like me.
Not that everybody involved in this is the same, but it is shocking how similar, like, this interest in pedals and gear and amps and everything, like, it does, it attracts a certain type of person, obviously, because almost without fail, everyone that I've met through doing this, with very few exceptions, have been people that I think are exceptionally cool. So that tells me that this industry and this passion or hobby or whatever you want to call it attracts a certain type of person. Not to say that everyone else is bad, but it's just like we just seem to really mesh together really well. Like, well, I mean, how many times have we?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a weird business, like where everybody's kind of friends, and even though we compete with each other, we still like get together at NAMM all in one big room and throw a big party, and just hang out with each other. So you generally don't find that in other, like the pharmaceutical industry is not doing that.
No.
The automobile industry is not doing that. So yeah, and I think it's all because we all are very big gear nerds. Like, this is our vice.
Yeah.
Or at least one of our vices.
Well, I mean, it's kind of shocking sometimes, guys that have been around for a long time, but like, you can tell, like, people love this stuff because, like, Rob came over, however long ago, and we recorded a podcast. I've talked about it a couple times, but like, what's he do? He goes, "Whoa, look at all those pedals," and he just goes right to the pedal cabinet and starts looking at stuff. And it's like,
right.
If that guy still gets excited,
yeah, Keeley, you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Robert Keeley. Yeah, some people were like Rob who, like Rob
Yeah,
Chapman.
Rob Chapman. No, but no, sorry, yeah, Keeley. If somebody's seen pedals at the, as many pedals as that guy has, and he still gets excited about it, that tells you something.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, heck, look at Analog Man. I don't even know when he started. It had to be before 2000. And, he helped with him and another guy wrote a book about all these old vintage pedals. Great book, by the way. If you can find it on Amazon, definitely get it. And, the guy's still as passionate as ever about guitar gear, and he's been doing this forever, for a long time. So, yeah, it's a cool industry to be in.
Is. And we can
not necessarily the most profitable industry, but it's a lot of fun. It makes getting up in the morning for work. It makes it much easier whenever you're like, oh well, I guess I got to go design a cool guitar effect today.
Yeah. Versus I got to get up and crush gravel.
Right. Or, man, all these spreadsheets I got to get done for my TPS reports today. Oh, God. Yeah, so it's, there are much worse things to do. I'm not complaining any bit at all. So, yeah, it's a very cool industry.
Yeah. This was a random episode, by the way.
Very, very random. So if you're still here with us at the end of this here, then thank you for hanging in.
You are a trooper.
Hopefully you did what I said and paused the podcast to go watch the video. That way you didn't listen to 16 minutes of something you had that made absolutely no sense whatsoever, because you really had to pause. You had to watch the video first. So, but hopefully you did that. Hopefully it was a lot of fun. And you got anything else to wrap this special post April Fool's edition up?
I don't think so. I will say my plans for the rest of the day, since everybody cares, include I'm gonna.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, please.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm gonna go into the gear slum here in a little bit. Well, I'm gonna record another podcast actually, and then I'm gonna go into the Gear Slum Facebook group, one of my favorite places on the internet, and I'm going to do a
I like that group.
I'm gonna do a very bad. A very, very bad George Michael cover. So it's going to be fun.
You should definitely do that. Definitely. And make sure you share our video too.
Oh yes, I should. I should do that.
If it's not in there.
So, right on, man.
All right.
Later.
So thanks again for sticking in with us over this podcast episode. This was a very special one. A lot of fun to make. We had a lot of fun doing the April Fool's video. If you have any comments or questions, as always, you can email podcast@wamplerpedals.com. That reaches me. You can email info@tonemob.com. That reaches Blake. You could also just email it to both of us and we'll get it. If you're on Facebook, make sure you check out our groups. We have the Wampler Pedals group. Blake has the Tone Mob group. And again, thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.